Hi folks, so fishing season is going to be upon us soon, and very soon actually in an upcoming video I'm going to be doing some target practice with a rabbit stick, bola, rock sling, and of course an atlatl. But for that video and for future fishing trips, you're only going to see one atlatl at a time. I've got quite a variety here that I'd like to walk through. Since they were used all over the world for tens of thousands of years, 20,000 plus for sure that we know, probably much longer than that. There's quite a few different versions of the same sort of thing. To start out with here, this little guy is my take on an Eskimo version called a throwing board. It's a single finger hole grip like that. It's got a shaped handle. It's really nice for kayaks and like kayak fishing, that sort of thing. It is a little bit shorter than usual because it's kind of a close range thrower. There are a couple variations on that, including this one, actually made out of sumac, which turned out to be surprisingly versatile. This one with a carved antler spur. This one here, really actually like for fishing. It's based on an artifact out of Florida that I believe is about 8,000 years old. Again, a little bit shorter, has a lot in common with that Eskimo style, except this one we have a loading groove and what's called an integral spur, where the hook is actually carved out of the wood itself. It's quite likely that many of these would have been decorated, and you know, with features that make them unique to the individual using them. This particular one, I just kind of carved out an inlay and ochre, coated with ochre and oil, and painted in the grooves well, what's for supper. Now, a couple of varieties that I have grown quite fond of. This is my take on a Northern Australian style gulpul. Hope I'm saying that right. My Aboriginal's not great. Usually they would have a like a tooth of a marsupial or something on the end here instead of the integrated spur, but I like this for bobbing around on the canoe because I can get the spear anywhere in here and it hooks right up to the spur. On this one, a feature of the next several you're going to see, I've got some cordage wrapped around the handle here. In this case, it doesn't actually need that for grip. That's just a convenient way to carry some extra string. And the flat profile sits very nicely on a belt. Allows me to carry it kind of like a sword. In fact, a lot of kids seem to think that that one is a sword. Continuing with Australia, this one is particularly neat. This is a central desert style, often called a woomera. Not sure what the traditional name for it is in that area. On the end here, I've got a big knob of pine pitch. Now, traditionally, this would have been a spinifex grass wax, but same kind of thing. It's sort of their hot melt glue. I've got extra cordage wrapped around the handle for grip if I need it, but also it gives me several lengths of cordage. The sort of long curved shape here gives me a harvesting basket. Again, traditionally it wouldn't have been an integral spur. Usually it would have been tied on with a kangaroo sinew, and it'd be like a tooth or a claw or something like that, something really hard. And a lot of them actually would have used the edge of this as the friction portion of their fire saw for starting the fire. So good multi-tool. Also, a lot of them would have had a flint blade in the end on the glue here, so they would have their stone knife is their spear thrower, is their fire starter, is their foraging basket. And, really, really great as a multi-tool. Again, often heavily decorated. I've kept this one kind of plain, but I've come to really appreciate this style. You'll be seeing it a lot this summer. And my go-to style here for fishing is this. This is a cross peg style atlatl. This is based off of an Ozark bluff dwellers atlatl, about 5,000-year-old artifact out of, I believe it was Missouri. Might have been Arkansas. I'd have to look it up. Lots of stuff to remember. This has a feature that's unique to the Americas, banner stone, which is to say a counterweight. It used to be thought that that was would give the thrower extra inertia, extra push. Doesn't actually seem to make any difference in the distance or the impact, the speed of the spear. It's very helpful for accuracy, because when you put the spear on here, it's hooked into the spur on the end, and so the weight on the front is pulling it down. This gives you a counterweight, actually puts the center of balance right about here, which makes your spear throw much, much smoother and easier if you have that banner stone and a heavy spear. Now, this one, like the original, has that integrated spur with the loading groove. You see I've got cordage on here again. One thing I really like about the cross peg atlatl is that you can use the peg and the spur like so, as demo this with a Sharpie here since it's what I've got on hand, as your bow for your bow drill fire. So you can carry your extra string on it, carry it under your belt, use it as your spear thrower, use it to crack open crayfish shells or dispatch fish, knock them off the end of the spear, that sort of thing. And then you can actually use it to start your cook fire. Now the cross peg atlatl can have a compound spur like this one, which I actually carved out of antler with stone tools. It's based off of a Solutrean artifact. This is actually lap jointed, so it's a diagonal on the antler and on the wood that's carved to match, that's then glued, bound tightly with, in this case, nettle fibers, and then glued again. It makes it very, very strong, gives it a good durable hook. And the banner stone itself has got a lot of weight to it. I've got it glued and tied. You can use it as a thumper if you need it. In this case, again, we're decorated. We've got a little snake on the end here, which also gives a really nice tie point for cordage, for using it as our bow drill. Really nice feature of the cross peg atlatl is the cross peg that gives it its namesake. You can use that as a split grip like so. Hold your spear like that. You can use it single finger like that to give yourself extra grip as a hammer grip. Or if you're in a situation that calls for closer in, you can actually use that as a very consistent base to shorten the overall length of your atlatl for close-in throws, which gives you a lot of adjustability, a lot of flexibility, and sort of a consistent marker. It's really become my favorite style. Just one more. This has a piece of antler, again with a sort of a lap joint, but it's kept at a diagonal here. The wood is a little hourglass shaped, a little choked in here so that the cordage has grip, it won't slide off, and then it's tied around and then figure-eighted around the spur and then secured with a good gob of pine pitch here. Now this one I've got plant fiber cordage, which all the useful things that you can use cordage for, all the helpful things you can use cordage for, of course, plus tinder for fire lighting. And this one is carved out of maple with a box elder cross peg. So the drilling out the hole is done with just a flint blade. You can see it typically narrow this down both for comfort and to make it easier to drill out with stone tools. But once it's in there, it's just pounded in and pressure fit and then trimmed to length. And it gives a really nice versatile spear thrower. You're going to see a lot of these, most often one of these two, when we get into spearfishing season here very, very soon. So hopefully that just gives you a nice look at some of the different types of atlatls that I could potentially be using. A lot of them you'll probably only see when we're in the workshop here. I definitely have my preferences when I go out hunting and fishing, but you're going to be seeing a lot more atlatl here in the near future. Thanks for stopping by, And don't forget, if you like this and learn something, do the whole like, follow, subscribe thing that everybody asks you to do. I really appreciate it.